Awakened Radio at awakenradio.net is truly a people-powered radio station. We are self-supported by our hosts, our staff, and you, hobby listeners. Thank you so much for joining us at the website and clicking our donate button, which you can find above the chat room, as well as sprinkled throughout several of the pages. Join us at awakenradio.net. Be the difference, walk the difference, live the difference. It is time for a new paradigm, and that is all of us working together as one to create the experiences that we all want to experience. Thank you for your love and support of the Awakened Radio family at awakenedradio.net.
Hello and welcome to Evolutionary Women Radio Show with Pernilla Lillerose, where authentic feminine power is making a difference in the world. Hello friends and welcome. This is Pernilla Lillerose, your host, and I want to welcome you to another show of Evolutionary Women Radio. Today is Tuesday, and we are here every Tuesday. And every Tuesday, I invite you to connect with me in any way that you feel moved to do. You can go to the chat room, which is right here on awakenradio.net/live chat room, and you can just come in and say hello and share yourself. And I would also love to hear from you if you feel moved to call in at some point and share how these shows, how you resonate with them, if you have any questions, if you have any sharings as it relates to what we're talking about. You can call in on 334-649-7204. And I would love to hear from you. The connections we make here is part of the reason why I am doing this show. I know we need each other. I know we need to connect with each other, share with each other, support each other, and help each other, see that what we are all going through right now is right. It's not wrong. It's not, you're not the only one. I'm not the only one. And truthfully, sometimes I feel I'm the only one because most people don't talk about this stuff. And I know for me, it's essential that I have my women groups, my women circles, my men and women circles. I'm in actually a number of smaller circles where we talk about these things and help each other embrace this new energy, and support each other in trusting it, listening to it, getting clarity around it, and following it. I really think it is so important that we have each other to share that with. Before I started sharing it, this is luckily many years ago, but when I was on my own with these experiences and these promptings and these insights and inspirations, I didn't really hear many people talk about it. And it frankly, it felt a little odd. It's like, why am I getting this? Why am I seeing this? Why does this seem so obvious when nobody else is seeing it or talking about it? And luckily today it's very, very different. There are many of us who are experiencing the same, who are suddenly knowing something that we can't really put our finger on why or how we know that. We just know it. We may read it somewhere, we may hear somebody talk about it somewhere, and in that we feel a resonance of like, oh yeah, that's what I'm experiencing too. And then we can embrace it more easily. And that's really what I want to keep inviting everybody, all the listeners here, to share yourself in whatever way feels right to you. And by you sharing yourself, that helps others understand that what they're going through is okay, and we're going in the right direction, but it's so different than what we're used to. So it's okay that we feel hesitant and weird about it. I certainly do. It's not just like one easy flow. There's every time I bump up against the next expression as it wants to come through me, and it seems so different than what I have been doing or what other people are doing, that I go like, ooh, not so sure. And, part of me wants to resist it, wants to, back off a little bit, or try and move around it in the old way that I have been doing it. And I think that's pretty common for all of us, that suddenly things are different, right? We've been living the same way in this old paradigm where we all did the same, and that seemed to work. Really, it seemed to work. Not necessarily fulfilling, but it still worked. Or it was fulfilling to a certain extent. There was a satisfaction in being busy and doing whatever was needed to become successful or even famous or rich or acknowledged. All these things that kind of set us apart from the norm or from the populace. So we step out, and when we step out of the populace, that means that we're not always popular, right? Because we're outside of that realm. And yeah, that is scary. But it shouldn't let us stop us. That's why we need each other. And I may have said that 1,000 times now on all the shows that I've had here, and I will probably continue to say it until something shifts again. All I'm doing every week on this show and every day and every moment in my life is to live to the best of my ability from this new energy as it wants to move and express itself. And sometimes I can get scared, frustrated, resistant, not understanding it, and then it's just like a continual willingness to allow this energy to come through and allow myself to become an open portal for it. And when I do that, then something relaxes in me and something else can start moving through. So that's what I want to invite and encourage all of us to learn to embrace this energy instead of resisting it. And in that, we cannot help but resisting it, because it's built into our system to stay safe and sane. So when something is suddenly different, it doesn't feel safe, and then our natural wiring is to do whatever is needed to stay safe. And I've talked about this before, that for a lot of us, sane has meant safe in the past. But it's not the truth anymore. What is safe today is to listen to this inner movement, this new energy, in whatever way it expresses itself. And it's different for all of us, and there's also a common thread, a similarity for all of us. But we need to find our specific expression. From there, things will start unfolding, and again, not always the way you think it should or you want it to. I keep experiencing that myself. I go with this energy, and it feels like it's going to go in a certain direction and something is going to happen, and then it doesn't. And then I go, wait a minute, what happened here? I thought we were moving in this direction and this is going to happen. And what I'm learning in all of this is to consistently let go of any kind of expectations of an outcome how I think it's supposed to look. And that's been something I really have been working on for a while now, and I'm finally beginning to be able to relax in the okayness that of not looking for a specific outcome. The experience of the felt sense of this energy, that is it. That is the outcome, if we want to use the word outcome. So this is what I'm realizing, that this is what is asked of us now. To not start creating something in order to blah, blah, blah. And again, there's nothing wrong with the fact that we want an outcome. I'm not saying we shouldn't have it, but let's not get attached to the outcome. Let's move in the direction that we are moved and inspired to go. And it looks like it's going to look a certain way, right? It looks like it's going to have this outcome, and this outcome could be, I'm going to be more successful. I'm going to have an income, or I'm going to learn something that's going to make me blah, blah, blah. That's usually that's how we're trained to, that's how we're conditioned to do things. So it's not all going to fall away right away. But we can consistently and consciously choose to let go of the attachment that the outcome needs to look a certain way. And that's a process. I know we've all heard this, you have to let go of the attachment, or there's so many ways of saying it, but until it's really experienced in the body as a felt sense, then it becomes embodied and real. Then the energy is taking us over. We're surrendering to it. We're surrendering to this energy on a felt sense level. And I don't know if you are familiar with the felt sense. It's something that I use a lot. A lot in my life and in my work. I have written about it in my book called Imagine Being Kind to Yourself, about the felt sense. Because we are so used to thinking and conceptualizing our way to things or understanding it, but it stays only on a conceptual level, and we need to bring it down into the body so that it's felt. And once it's felt in the body, the energy shifts. And if you want to learn more about this whole concept of the felt sense, and to me, it's essential. It is so essential that it has become second nature in my life. You can buy my book if you're interested in learning more about it on my website, and my website is lillarose.com, LILLAROSE.com. And this will take you through steps of how to really get into your body and find out what the felt sense is. It's a feeling of a yes or a feeling of a no. It's a feeling of a moving forward or a feeling of a moving away from. See, it's something you can start learning to pay attention to in your body. When you, for instance, say, yes, I want that, you can ask yourself, well, what tells me that? What is it in me that says yes to that? And this is something that takes time. And it's something that I learned years ago. The work I do called Hakomi, it's very much about coming into the body and learning about that in the body, bringing it into the body. So if you want to, you can just right now, you can kind of begin to think about, well, if I say yes to something, what is it in me? Is it something is it a feeling in my body of expansion, of love, of openness, of joy, something like that. So it becomes a felt sense in your body. And on the other side of that is if you feel no or something you don't want, instead of just going straight with that no without connecting it to your body, you might go down and say, well, how does this no feel? What tells me that it is a no? Where in my body, what happens in my body when I feel no or when I say no? And then you can start connecting that down in the body. Are my jaws clenching, or do I feel a hardness in my belly, or do I notice that my hands kind of want to go forward to push something away? You see, then you connect that yes or no with the felt sense in your body. So I'll teach you very simple steps in the book, but they are actually very essential to know the foundation of learning how to listen to your body, to the felt sense. And this new energy that I'm talking about, how it wants to move in us, it is felt in the body. It is something that moves us in a direction that is palpable. And when I talk about what I've been sitting with here, I've talked about the last few radio shows where I can feel that my body is just saying, I don't want to do anymore like I have been doing. It's not just a thought in my head. My whole body, when I drop down and go, wow, this is really a strong energy that says no to the old. And if I feel that in my body, there's kind of I don't know how to describe it, but I know how to feel it. And, well, I can try and describe it sort of. It's kind of a restriction, a contraction, a pushing, also a strength, just like a no. It's like my whole body's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And what we normally do when we don't know how to listen to that, there's a tendency to ignore that and then go to the mind and try and override that no by rationalizing it or by pushing through or saying we should do it, or, everybody else is doing it, so we should. And what happens is we miss the opportunity to really feel this energy, how it moves in us. And it's something that is alive. And it's something that's very beautiful and it's very wise. But we are the ones who need to turn our attention inward and listen to that. So please check that out if this is something you feel like this is your next step. If you have not learned how to do that yet, you can always start with my book. It's called Imagine Being Kind to Yourself, and you can buy it on my website, lilarose.com. And I also work privately with my clients this way to help those who need help. And believe me, we all do. I know for myself, I got a lot of help learning how to listen to myself, how to trust myself, and to find out who I really am when I'm not trying to be like everybody else or trying to follow the latest trend that everybody's doing. So feel free to contact me. You can find all the information on my website, and if you want to, you can always sign up for a free half-hour discovery session where we can find out, where you are and where you want to be and how we can help you get there. So, but back to this new energy as it moves in us, and how amazing it is that we can share that with each other and support each other in listening and learning how to trust that. For myself, when I talk to other people about it, and I get a confirmation, either because they have the same experience or because they can feel the truth in what I'm saying, so there's a resonance of yes, that helps me every time to relax a little deeper into this energy. You see, that's why we need each other to confirm and inspire each other to embrace this. I cannot stress how important that is, that we need each other. We do not need to walk around out there with this energy all on our own, thinking there's something wrong with us or we don't know what to do with it. It's simply a matter of learning to trust it and feel it in the body. And so this is what happens when you really know how to feel it in the body, and you can start practicing with a yes and a no if this is new to you. And that's a very powerful way to start it, because you need to start somewhere, and this yes, feeling of yes and feeling of no is something you need to go back to all the time, because that's how your body informs you. So in my case, it's been very strong, like I just don't want to do anymore in the way that I have been doing. And I know this has been a process for me over the past many years. So it didn't happen overnight, but I can notice that I've dropped in a little deeper all the time. I have been busy doing things, and a lot of the things felt really good and right, all the things I've learned. But it feels like now things are shifting, where it's like I can't even open one more email about marketing or another one who's offering this thing where you can learn to this, that, and the other. My whole body just says like, no, no. And it's like almost like a scream in there. And I was thinking, why is it like a scream? And of course it's because it's been knocking on the door for a long time. And even though I have been listening, I haven't been listening all the way deep down to the point where now it's like, no. And I'm really, really hearing it now. So instead of saying, oh, I'll just try this thing first, or, well, I'll just do this little thing and take this class or whatever it is, now I'm like, okay, I got it. I hear you, and I want to honor it now. And I want to take the risk of stopping, because that's what every cell in my body is asking me to do. So what happens then is that I'm actually embracing that felt sense that says I don't want to do anything. And when it drops from the mind, from just thinking it's a thought I can override with another should, you should do this or you try this, kind of always trying to manipulate it and tell it what it should do instead. Now there is just a dropping down into the body and a real sincere curiosity about, well, what is this thing that says no? What is this part that doesn't want to do anything? And when I say don't do anything, I know I've shared this before, it doesn't mean I'm just sitting on a couch, twisting my thumbs or something. I'm doing quite a lot, but it's different. It's a different doing where there is no outcome at the end. I'm not doing something to get somewhere. It's a doing from a place of it feels right. It's not coming from a place like where I say no and it's like, no, you have to, you should. It's like, no, that one I'm listening to is like, okay, I get it already. This is not right anymore. So feeling that, really fully embracing that felt sense of not wanting to do anything, where before it brought up a lot of fear. Now it actually feels very, very sweet. And it also has put me in touch with a deep exhaustion that I think I've had for a long, maybe lifetimes, who knows. And it's because there's a constant overriding of this part that wants to slow down, do less, and just be. When we keep overriding that natural energy of expression, it's exhausting. So it's so interesting when I really do this lab work on my own body, right? I'm kind of a research lab where I'm exploring what happens when I fully embrace this felt sense of not wanting to do anything. Then my whole body relaxes because the resistance to the natural movement is gone. And when the resistance is gone, there is just well-being. There is relaxation, there's well-being, and there's also clarity. When we fully embrace this energy that wants to move through us, it comes with a sweetness and a clarity that we cannot get from the mind. It's coming from a whole different level of consciousness. And it's important that we slow down enough so we can listen to it. You see, I'm not advocating that we all stop doing everything we're doing. That's not what it's about. For you, the listener, it may be something else. When you go in and listen, you might get an inspiration to start moving in a certain direction and express something in a way that you haven't done before. You see, and then because it's scary and because nobody else is doing it, you might have been suppressing it, resisting it. And again, doing other things, getting busy doing, and expending energy. And that creates exhaustion because it's coming from just a busyness of doing, but it doesn't come from the core of your being. It's not being done from your essence. It's just, many times we do things just for the sake of doing. I can certainly admit to that's been a big part of my life, just being busy for the sake of being busy because everybody else is busy. But now it feels to me that I've dropped deep enough and listened deep enough that I can say, okay, I get it already. And I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what it's going to look like, how my life is going to express itself. But it's just listening to this energy and start trusting it. And I see we're just about to go on a break now. So if any of you has anything similar going on, I would invite you to call in or chat in so we can talk about it. The number here is 334-649-7204. And it would be lovely just to share if you have a similar or a different experience. It's always helpful for all of us to hear each other share how we deal with these things, how we deal with this new energy, and how it affects our life. Because there's always some kind of an expectation that things are going to go bad and that things won't work out. And that's a very common thing. But maybe it's different. So maybe one of you has a different experience, and I'd love to hear from you. So we're going to go on a little break, and then we'll continue this conversation in a short while. I'll see you later in a little bit.
Awakened Radio was brought to you by our listeners. Those of you who enjoy our wide range of topics and our wide range of listenership. We really do cover the globe. with thought and geographic location. Thank you so much for taking part, for coming over and joining us in our chat room, and for clicking that donate button while you're there. We appreciate your contributions. They are what has helped us to grow and will help us to grow even more. While you're at our website, please visit our Awaken store. Take part in our forum conversations. Check out all of the pages at awakenedradio.net. Get to know us. You'll like us. We're really a friendly bunch. Thank you for helping make Awakened Radio possible.
Well,
go ahead, Vanilla.
oh, hello and welcome back from our little break. And I saw there was a little hello from Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa. And I say hello back to you. It's lovely to have you here. If there's anything else you want to share, feel free to do so. But let's... oh, there's some problems here. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. I just had to read something. It sounds like there was something going on here. Anyway, let's talk more about this felt sense and whatever it means for you. You know, the way I experience it is I know myself to be presence. And sometimes I compare that to the ocean. It's vast. It's endless space. It's just like huge. And when it's a place I rest almost all the time, even though there might be things going on that are uncomfortable or that I'm struggling with. I'm never away from the experience of being present. It's who we are. It's who we all are. And I have spent enough time in my life to turn my attention back in and do the inquiry, like, who am I? What am I? So by having access to that, and this is also an invitation for all of us to really start that inner work, and start waking up to who we are. Once we have realized who we are, it's as if we become the container, we become the ocean that can hold everything. It can hold every fish, every wave, every current, every seaweed, whether it's a huge shark or a tiny little fish. It holds everything and nothing is excluded. And again, it's something that I want to encourage you to start paying attention to. You can read about it in my book, the same book I mentioned. I also have a CD set called Meditation and Mindfulness. And there are 6 CDs in there, 6 meditations that help you to get in and be present with what is and start feeling, getting into the felt sense. And also the meditation of who am I, to help you start realizing who you are and start waking up to who you are. I don't want to go too deeply into that right now, but I would like to encourage you to either purchase the CD set or the book, or, go to a meditation class in your area, something to help you connect deeper with your essence, with your presence. That's where it all starts. So the way I experience this is that when I'm willing to dive into my own ocean, right, my own presence, by just putting my attention there, my awareness, it's like jumping in. And when I jump into my own ocean, the ocean that I am, the presence that I am, then I can start sensing in there, what is it that this ocean wants to express or experience? Does it want to move to the left or to the right? Does it want to go up and become a wave? Does it want to drop deep down and follow a current in there? Does it want to experience just a nice warm current and just bask in that? Or does it really want to go up to the top or the surface and be a choppy wave and have a lot of experience and expression? You see, it's when I dive in and catch the current that is most prevalent, that is most alive in there for me at this moment. And it changes. It does change. So it's always diving into your own presence. And then you start sensing around what is here, what is alive, what wants to happen. This is where I experience this. I don't want to do anything. I just don't want to do anything. And that's the wave, or that's the current, or whatever we want to call it. That's the one that I want to catch, right? We can also say it's a wave that I want to surf in, or surf on, whatever. So when I catch my own wave, it's like I'm at the edge of the wave, right where it breaks. So I can continually feel into like, oh, left, right, up, down, hold back, go faster, don't do anything, do a lot. Right? When you're just sensing into your own presence, that is not separate from your expression from moment to moment to moment. Right in here, in the waves, in the water, in the ocean, in the surf, that is where we need to live in order to be in full harmony with who we are at the core. That's where we live in true oneness with who we are and how we express ourselves, because they're not two, they are one. And the more we can dive into our own ocean and sense into how the ocean wants to express itself as you, as me, and then trust that, go with that, that's when things can start smoothing out into oneness, into fulfillment, into ease. Now what happens though is, when we sense that, for instance, I can use myself as an example here. When I sense this, no, I don't want to do anything, then the mind throws up like, yeah, but what about this and what about that? And your bills and your this and your that and your da 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 da. And then I get scared. It's like, oh, that's right. If I don't do anything, well, how are the bills going to get paid? How about the mortgage? How about the clients? How about the this? How about the that? How about the kids? How about the family? How about, all these things come up. Very, very normal. Pretty much unavoidable. And that's what takes us out of the ocean of our own presence into the mind, into thoughts, which are from the old paradigm. That's how it used to be. And I know for most of us it's very hard to make a smooth transition from the old paradigm into the new, because they are completely opposite. It's from duality, contraction, separateness, having to do it myself from the old paradigm, knowing when I do this, this will happen. Just very very controlled in the mind and very contracted, very fear-based. This is the old, and it still lives in us. But the new, we're moving into a state of not knowing. Very scary when all we have known so far is thinking we know everything, thinking we need to know the outcome, how things are going to unfold so we will be safe. But it's going to be different And I want to say that over and over, that this learning to live in the mystery, in the new energy, is living in not knowing. And that is one of the scariest things for the mind, because all the mind does is know things. It thinks it needs to know. So I want to invite all of us right now to take a deep breath. If there's any fear or any sensations that have come up around not knowing, just let's take a breath into that felt sense in the body of fear, of like, oh, I don't know what to do. And just breathe into that. Just let it be there for a moment. Take another deep breath. And just allow this newness to be here. And allow the fear around it to be here. And take another breath in there. It's kind of learning to allow yourself to step into not knowing and get used to it. I want to tell you that it's not dangerous to live in not knowing. It's just different. Different does not mean dangerous. Ooh, that's a good title for a book right there, huh? Different does not mean dangerous. It just means that it's different to what we've been used to. And are we willing to experience something, excuse me guys, are we willing to experience something that is different? And just maybe be open to the thrill of the newness of it. If you can find a place in you that's just open to the newness of not knowing. It doesn't mean anything. Your mind may throw up a few things, but just for now, just be open to the newness of not knowing. The felt sense. What does it feel like in your body to not know? If you don't put a lot of stories around it, what is the actual experience to not know? And if you have anything, if you want to share it on the chat room or call in, feel free to do that. But just give yourself a moment to actually have the experience of not knowing before you close or thinking, oh, it means terrible things are going to happen, right? That's what the mind likes to do. But just the newness of not knowing. When I go there, and for the most part, I love living in not knowing. There is an awe. There is like an open curiosity of like, wow, I wonder what will happen when I don't know. It's like, it can be a childlike curiosity. And it's very different. It allows us to stay open to this newness to enter. What is it for you? What is the energy in you that wants to express itself but has been scary to you? If you're anything like me today, and if you're feeling this thing of like, I don't want to do anything. And I know that in the chat box room, thank you again, Teresa, that is something that relates to you also. So what if you just embrace that for a moment? What if that was not wrong or bad or something that shouldn't be there? What if it doesn't relate to you personally, but what if it is just the new energy of the divine that is showing up in a new way in the world, where we can surrender to the moment and let it unfold beautifully, uninterruptedly, just like nature does, right? A tree does not have to think about, yeah, but where's this leaf going to go, and where's that branch going to go, and how tall will that branch go, and will it reach up so I can get enough sun, and what if it doesn't rain, A tree doesn't do that. Plants don't do that. It's something we do as human beings because we have this dualistic mind. So it's just the mind doing its thing. But the good news is that we are not our mind. We are aware of our mind. We can use the mind. We can let the mind be used by the divine for an avenue of awareness. But in the meantime, we can just stay open to the felt sense in the body that says, I don't want to do anything. I want to just rest. And what if that was okay for a moment? And maybe more than a moment, but we can just take one moment at a time so it's not too scary and too overwhelming. We want to invite this new energy in, but we don't want to get scared by it. We want to learn what it is. And the best way to learn it is by embracing it and opening up to the felt sense of it, right? What does it feel like to not want to do anything? How does that feel in your body when you don't resist it? When you fully allow it. Fully allow it. What does it feel like? Doesn't it feel yummy? It took me a while to fully embrace it, but when I did, it's actually totally delicious. And then we just need to keep going there many times a day and check in. It's like, is it still true? It's like you jump back into your ocean, into your presence, and you just sense into like, well, what is here? Is it still, what is the longing? What wants to move here? It's like, oh, I just want to do as little as possible. I just want to sit and be. I just want to listen to the birds. I just want to watch the trees. I just want to have tea with a friend. Simple, simple things. And just see if this is anything that relates to you. And just allow that to be felt. What does it feel like if you make that okay to long for that? Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that help your body open up and relax? Invite it in. And of course, if you have a different experience, if you just have something, I have been, doing this thing forever, and I just want something new that is more in resonance with my core values. What is that then for you? It's similar. The process is the same. It's like, what is it for you? If you dive into your own ocean, your own presence, what is it that wants to express itself? What wave wants to take form on top of the water as an expression? And what if you let yourself rise up with that ocean and become that wave? And just notice, like, I want to do this. This brings me an aliveness. This gives me energy and inspiration. So embrace that felt sense and just feel what it feels like if you allow that to come to the surface. Allow that to be felt. This is how we start embracing the new energy. And you can see it can be completely opposite for you and for me. But it's still the same energy that's just taking a new expression. I would be surprised if there is a deep longing to contract and be afraid and work like 60, 80 hours a week and be like everybody else, and, things like that. I would be surprised if that is the wave that is moving in the ocean. But, we're all different, so who knows? But generally, I notice that everybody I've talked to, everybody I work with, that there is an energy that moves towards ease, effortlessness, doing less, connecting more with each other, spending more time in nature, talking about things that deeply matter, sharing our heart's longing, and sharing our shadows too. So we're not hiding who we are. We're not hiding the parts of us that we used to hide. Now there is more a longing to just share it with people that feel safe and that it's okay. You see, so that's a lot of the new energy as it moves into a world of ease, effortlessness, doing less, working less, or working in a different way. Maybe working hard, but out of pleasure, out of joy, not out of fear, survival, need. And that's still going to be there, trust me. I'm not saying it's not going to be there, because we are not out of the old yet, like I've shared so many times before. But we have to keep going into our own presence and catch that wave of how it really wants to move now. And then embrace the felt sense of that. And start trusting that. And it can be very, very helpful to do that with other people. You can either do it, you can create a circle where you have some like-hearted, like-visioned friends coming together where you share these things. You can do it with a trusted friend. You can do it with a coach, a therapist, a teacher, somebody that you feel safe with to help your expression come forward in these new times. Somewhere where you feel supported and not put down. Being put down is also part of the old paradigm. Nobody has a longing in their beingness to be put down or to put others down. That's all the old stuff. And we have been swimming around in that ocean. But now that same ocean of beingness is taking another expression. It's taken a new form. And we are the ones who need to listen deeply. What is it? What wants to happen? What makes me happy? What is my heart and body longing for? And if it is something like slowing down, maybe stopping completely, I want to tell you, trust that. Trust that. It's not wrong. It's simply the energy moving in and as you. And just because it's different than what you're used to and that what everybody else is doing, you can still trust that. That's what I'm here for. I am here to help anybody who is moved to explore that with me, to learn to trust your unique expression as it moves in you. And it does not mean that you have to be out there being successful, changing the world, all that stuff. There are people who are moved to do that, let them do it. If that's not moving in you, listen to what is moving in you. That's it. That's your wave, that's your current, that's your expression. And then be brave and courageous to find out what happens. If this energy is so strong in us that says, I just don't want to do anything, and I'm of course speaking a lot from my own experience here, then I need to be willing to surrender into that and find out, what does that mean? Does it mean I'm going to lose everything? That everything is going to come crashing down? I'm at a point where it's like, well, then so be it. Because this is speaking so loud in me that that's much more important than any outcome that I can even come up with. And it may sound a little strange, but it's because I am beginning to trust this energy deeper and deeper and deeper every single day. And in the depth of the trust, there comes a courage and there comes a willingness that says, I don't even care what happens. This is the only thing that feels true. This is the only thing that matters. And this is not coming from a bleak, pessimistic place at all. This is coming from a very empowered, present, centered, and strong place of simply be willing to let go of all the old that is not resonating anymore. And that's taking me a few trial runs, to get here where it's like, and then I would fall back and do again, right? And, maybe I'll fall back into that tomorrow. I don't know. But I only know that right now, I'm deep in my presence. I'm deep in my ocean. And all I notice here is that energy that wants to slow down and learn to trust this energy and find out what happens if I serve this baby home. That's all that's true for me right now, and I trust that. And it's scary at times, but it's still big enough that it wants my attention, and I don't want to look away from it anymore. So if that can inspire you to embrace your energy, your expression as it's coming through, then I'm happy for you. Because then you can start moving with your own true energy. Yes, wow. I was curious what I was going to talk about today, as I always am. But this is a very, very powerful message for all of us to really go down and trust that. And if you want to explore it some deeper with me, you're always welcome to connect with me and have a half-hour free discovery session where we do discover it and find out what it is that your wave is wanting and what is getting in the way for its expression. And then learning to trust it. We can do this together. So you're not alone. I love not doing it all on my own. There's times where it feels good to do it on my own, and there's times it feels really good to get some support from other people. And I think we need to find that balance where we go back and forth and where we do get the support in whatever way that feels right to each one of us. And that's also found when we go into the wave, into the water, that's where we will find out what is the right thing for us. So my friends, it's always a joy to be here with you. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. And I will be back next week, and I send you many blessings and wishes for a beautiful day. Bye-bye.